Spring Hill ISD voters will consider a bond and tax proposal to support school upgrades, academic programs, and stadium improvements. We've got details on that coming up. And new information on the timeline leading up to the deadly flash floods at Camp Mystic. What camp officials are saying about their response just ahead. And meet the father-son duo turning their yard into a Halloween wonderland with hundreds of hand-carved pumpkins. We'll show you their spooky setup just ahead.
We're looking at a much better forecast this afternoon with lots of sunshine. We'll go over all the details in your full forecast coming up. So stay right there because Morning Y'all on CBS 19 Plus starts right now.
Together, we're putting East Texas first. You're watching Morning Y'all on CBS 19 Plus.
That cleanup resumes this morning after two EF1 tornadoes were struck East Texas this week. Survey crews confirmed that tornado hit Kilgore, packing winds up to 94 miles per hour. Trees and homes damages, and it sent Halloween decorations flying, but no injuries. Cleanup there could take more than a week. Also, a fast-moving tornado touching down in Lindale, also twisting trees and damaging barns and trailers. The storm lasted less than a minute, but neighbors are just thankful that everyone made it through. Good morning, y'all. Thanks for staying with us on CBS 19 Plus. I'm Dana Dixon. Want to get over to weather now. We are so thankful that the winds have finally calmed down here in East Texas after kind of a wild week when it comes to weather in East Texas.
Oh, I mean, yeah, we were absolutely busy. We had Melissa, we had the tornadoes, we also had the wind. That is all coming to a close, luckily, into today. Definitely a cold start as you head out the door this morning. It's a beautiful sunrise, though. This is a live look over the campus of SFA in Nacogdoches. Look at the colors out there. The sun is beginning to rise. And also, as you head out the door, 41 degrees in Nacogdoches this morning. Also 42 degrees in Longview, 46 in Tyler, 48 in Jacksonville, and 45 degrees this morning in Center. So a very cold start to this morning, and temperatures will still remain relatively on the cool side into this afternoon. We'll be up into the low 60s by the early parts of the afternoon. Lots of sunshine also. It's going to be a very beautiful day, and also the winds much lighter, still out of the northwest, about 5 to 10 miles per hour. So we're still seeing a little bit of cooler air come into the area. So we're going to be seeing temperatures today in the middle 60s. And for the next couple of days, we'll see temperatures go up a little bit. We'll see temperatures near 70 for Halloween. And then another cold front comes in Saturday with a slight chance of showers. We'll go over your 7-day forecast. Plus, we'll dive into the Kilgore and Lindale tornado tracks. That's coming up.
Yeah, we're going to touch a little bit more on our big story of the day right now, Joel. A fast-moving tornado touching down in Lindale on Tuesday. You can see from this video right here, twisting trees and debris just flying. A Lindale resident says she and a co-worker took cover during all of this as barns and trailers were damaged nearby. Here's the crazy part. The storm lasted less than a minute, but cleanup will take much longer. Neighbors say they're just thankful that everyone made it through the tornado safely. Now over to Kilgore, where survey crews also determined there that the tornado's intensity was an EF1 with peak wind speeds reaching about 94 miles per hour. But look at all of the destruction. Strong winds uprooted trees there, damaged homes and yards, not to mention decorations that just went flying in people's yards. The Kilgore fire chief says no injuries have been reported so far, but he did say that this cleanup won't be over today. It could take a week or more. A Longview resident was struck by a vehicle yesterday afternoon right outside of Longview High School. The crash happened just after 2 p.m. on East Loop 281. Police say the pedestrian suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Officials have confirmed the person who was hit is not a student with Longview ISD. Authorities are still investigating the incident, but no further details have been released. We're less than a week away from Election Day, and new data shows a lot of Texans have yet to vote in the current election. According to Texas Secretary of State Jane Nelson, about 3% of registered voters have cast a ballot. This means just over 560,000 out of 18.4 million registered voters have made it to the polls so far. That includes about 23,000 mail-in votes. CBS 19 is continuing our election preview. On the ballot, Spring Hill ISD voters will decide whether to approve a new bond package and a property tax rate increase. The district says the funds would support academic programs, facility upgrades, and student services. CBS 19's Ayana Aird has the breakdown of what you're voting for and how it could impact property taxes.
Spring Hill ISD is proposing a property tax rate increase and bond package for voters to decide on this November.
We encourage everyone to get out and vote that lives in Spring Hill ISD.
Here's the breakdown of Spring Hill ISD's bond propositions. Proposition A is the voter approval tax rate election. Spring Hill ISD is asking voters to consider a 3.2-cent tax increase per $100 of taxable property value. This would provide additional funding for academic programs, extracurricular activities, and student support services. Now, Proposition B is a general maintenance bond funding the replacement of heating and air conditioning units, interior upgrades at the junior high campus, and other district maintenance projects. Proposition C focuses on upgrades and maintenance at the Panther Stadium, and Proposition D would improve tennis courts and restroom facilities. The district's current 50-cent INS tax rate will support Propositions B, C, and D without any additional tax rate increase. The total bond package is $20 million.
We honestly just do not have money in our day-to-day operational budget to take on those big ticket items at this point.
Superintendent Penny Fleet says the district's operating budget is struggling due to inflation. The proposed tax rate increase would generate about $304,000 a year. If passed, the district says it will ensure full transparency and accountability in how the bond funds are used.
So we'll be sure to be following those based on our CFO oversight, as well as our financial advisor that we work with through the school district. We will be sure that we're doing all those kinds of things in the correct manner.
Susan Baker, a Spring Hill resident since 1986, has had children and grandchildren go through the district. A former employee herself, she says she trusts the school board and believes the bond is needed.
A lot of us have kids in Spring Hill, or we'll deal with kids that have gone through Spring Hill, and they need the help. So I'm going to vote for it.
We feel like it's critical to the experience of our students, and we feel like that our students, our staff, and our community deserve well-kept facilities.
In Spring Hill, I'm Ayana Aird, CBS 19.
Thank you, Ayana. Early voting ends this Friday. If you're a Spring Hill resident, you can vote. Election Day is less than a week away, November 4th. And for any information that you might need for this year's election, the CBS 19 voter guide can be sent straight to your phone. Just text the word vote. That's 903-600-2600. Want to make things easy for you. Well, Hurricane Melissa continues to leave a trail of death and destruction across the Caribbean. This morning, it's moving through the Bahamas as a Category 2 storm. Melissa made landfall in Cuba yesterday morning as a Category 3, causing significant damage and flooding. About 140,000 people are still without power. In Jamaica, where Melissa struck Tuesday, most of the island remains without power and some areas are still not accessible. At least 30 people have died across the region, including in Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said on social media that the U.S. is sending rescue and response teams to assist in recovery efforts. We're learning more about the timeline leading up to the tragedy at Camp Mystic when deadly flash floods swept through the area. Camp officials are pushing back against claims that they were slow to act. They say the first severe weather alert came in around 1:14 in the morning. Within minutes, they say staff members began monitoring the situation and forming a plan. By about 2 a.m., crews were securing equipment and moving campers to safety. Photos taken around 2:13 show camp leaders organizing ground crews, and by 3 o'clock, an orderly evacuation was underway. In total, they say 166 girls were moved from those cabins closer to the river before those water levels rose too high.
What has been the teaching in Kirk County and across the state of Texas, and by the National Weather Service and by FEMA and by the CDC, is you shelter in place. That's first and foremost what you ought to do. People do not get in cars, and for whatever you do, Do not take 9-year-old girls who weigh 63 pounds on average into raging floodwaters. They're going to get washed away.
Despite those efforts, several cabins flooded within minutes and multiple victims were swept away. Investigators continue to review the camp's response and the exact timeline of events leading up to the tragedy. One of Texas' most disturbing serial murder cases is back in the news as an accomplice to Houston's Candyman killer may be paroled from prison. Convicted murderer Elmer Wayne Henley, currently serving a prison sentence in Texas, is scheduled for parole this week, or hearing, that is. Here's more from Bob Buckaloo.
It happened inside this house in Pasadena, near Houston, in the early 1970s. The man who lived here then, Dean Corll, murdered dozens of teenage boys who had been lured to his house with the promise of beer and marijuana. Corll was dubbed the Candy Man because he once owned a candy store. Corll's two accomplices, Elmer Wayne Henley and David Owen Brooks, would get paid for finding the young victims and bringing them to Corll, where they would be sexually assaulted, tortured, and killed. Eventually, Henley turned on Corll, killed him during an argument, then confessed to police about the murders. Henley led police to the bodies of teenagers who Corll buried on the beach between Galveston and Port Arthur. As the search for victims was underway, Henley talked to reporters.
I never said there were 30 people. I said 24. The name's Junior, not Elmer Wayne Henley. Well, what? Get your pictures.
Corll had also buried his victims at his boat shed in Pasadena and in a national forest in East Texas. In all, at least 28 teenage boys and young men were killed between 1970 and 1973. Henley and Brooks were convicted of murder in 1974. Brooks died of COVID in prison. Henley is being considered for parole this week.
15 minutes after 7 now, it's time for your morning headlines. A sentencing date for a former Illinois deputy has been set. Sean Grayson was found guilty yesterday of second-degree murder in the shooting of Sonia Massey. Body camera video from the 2024 incident showed Grayson responding to Massey's home after she called 911 to report a suspected prowler. Grayson then confronts Massey about how she was handling a pot of hot water on her stove. He then shoots and kills her. Grayson's sentencing is slated for January 29th. He could serve 4 to 20 years. President Trump is on his way back to Washington after wrapping up a 6-day trip to Asia. He attended the APEC conference in South Korea and met with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Prior to meeting with Xi, the president announced on social media that he has instructed the U.S. Department of War to start testing nuclear weapons immediately on an equal basis with other nuclear powers, including Russia and China. The U.S. had voluntarily halted nuclear testing beginning in 1992. It is now day 30 of the government shutdown. Yesterday, Senate Democrats condemned the Trump administration for refusing to tap into a discretionary fund of $5 billion that would enable SNAP food benefits to continue beyond November 1st, when the assistance program is set to expire. Congressional leaders also reported cautious optimism that meaningful bipartisan talks could be in the works. And a familiar Fort Worth landmark is getting a twin. Crews are building a second arch to welcome visitors to the western side of those historic stockyards, an area that business owners say has long been overlooked. The new gateway will officially open with a ribbon cutting Wednesday, November 12th, with city leaders on hand to celebrate what's being called a boost for local tourism and economic growth. You've probably by now seen a few carved pumpkins on porches. Maybe you've carved one or two yourself, but one home in Minnesota takes it to a whole new level. A father and son have turned their yard into a glowing pumpkin patch with hundreds of jack-o'-lanterns on display. Ryder Blair stopped by to see what has kept this Halloween spectacle going for over 2 decades.
Mark and John Gilbertson are the part-time pumpkin artists and full-time masterminds behind this spooky operation at 624 9th Street.
I just don't want Halloween to die, so that's why I do it.
We don't even got the pumpkins out. We just got knives. Bit with my drill. Just cut them out, do face, and I put light bulbs in the back of them.
What started as a small patch for the father-son duo more than 20 years ago.
Basically every year since I've been 11, and I'll be 32 next month. Another one of my favorites this year, Jake the snake.
Has grown into a Halloween tradition that gets a little brighter each October, now with 258 jack-o'-lanterns.
I think last year we were, total number I believe was like around 130.
Although the two have carved more pumpkins than they can count.
Put it this way, enough to do where I had no more ideas for faces.
Each year they invite anyone to come carve as many as possible the weekend before Halloween.
Parents have a heyday just as much as the little kids do.
Whether it's a classic jack-o'-lantern face, an intricate design, or creativity on
We got
display.
a campfire and we got the skeletons with a stogie in his mouth and sitting around a campfire.
Each pumpkin is carved by hand, or drill for that matter.
I'm running out of yard space. I might have to borrow some yard space from my neighbor.
And if you think 250 is a lot, wait till next year when they plan to add even more with an eventual goal of 1,000 jack-o'-lanterns.
Wow, that is a lot of work.
That's awesome.
Can you believe it? Halloween is just a day away now.
That's really crazy.
If you haven't, you better go get your candy soon. But we are getting in the spirit for the holiday. From spooky to silly, everyone's got that one costume that they'll never forget. Maybe it was a classic ghost, a clever group theme, or something that got a few laughs. So we want to know, what is your all-time favorite Halloween costume that you've ever worn? Do you have one?
Oh man, I have a couple of them. I was a vampire when I was in 6th grade, and then in 7th grade, I liked my scarecrow costume a lot.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, so yeah, a couple of monsters, you know.
I feel like as an only child, I did not get into this as much as everybody else. Like my daughter and all her friends get together and they do a theme. They've been like, you know, 70s girls, or I think they're doing like some sort of superhero theme because Halloween falls on the night of the football game this year. So they're all dressing up. I've mentioned this a lot. I was a witch and a clown.
Just the two.
Many years. My mom made the costumes. She's not a sewer, so I think she felt very proud of them, and so I wore them a lot. I do recall a picture, though, in me in my clown costume where I was shedding a tear, so I think I was over it.
You were like, I'm over this.
I am over this costume.
Right. Hey, you know what? You just reminded me. Me and my sister actually were Doc and Marty from Back to the Future a few years ago. Yeah, that was a good costume too. I almost forgot about that.
That's a lot of fun.
Hey, Marty, gotta get back to 1985. That comes out tomorrow in theaters, by the way.
Oh, it does.
It comes
tomorrow.
back. I think I might see it.
I bet you will. All right. We want to know if you want to win some tickets to Wonder Screams in Shreveport. Celebrate the holiday tomorrow. You have the chance to win just by answering our question of the day that we've been talking about. You can win a family 4-pack of tickets to this haunted attraction. So head over to our Facebook page and share your answer. And we already have a winner of that family 4-pack of tickets for today. In this hour, it is Alina Summerall. Congratulations. Just stop by the station, pick up those tickets to go get a little scared.
I don't think you'll have to wonder if you're going to be screaming there. I think it's definitely
it's a sure thing. Hopefully not on the roads today. Though.
Yeah, no screaming on the roads, no any of that, but not really looking very spooky on our I-20 report. Actually looking pretty normal as we take a look here. We got 2 hours over to Dallas and an hour and 30 minutes over to Shreveport this morning. US 69 also in very nice shape. We got 2.5 hours up to Denison and an hour and 30 minutes down to Lufkin. So looking great there. 55 minutes is the commute from Jacksonville to Nacogdoches at this point. We have a 40-minute commute from Tyler to Longview now, and then Tyler to Palestine is up to 55 minutes, and if you're heading from Tyler to Athens, that's going to be about a 45-minute commute for you this morning. Now we're enjoying a nice clear sunrise, and that is making our CBS19 live radar very, very quiet, not picking up a single thing other than maybe a couple of things on the ground, but current visibility, on the other hand, looking nice and clear. We got 9 to 10 miles of visibility all across the area. I do expect that will continue into the rest of this morning, giving you green lights all the way through 9 o'clock and green lights all the way through 6 o'clock. From 4 o'clock, we'll see temperatures in the middle 60s and sunshine all around.
Just a day away from Friday night football, and playoff battles are on. Tyler High, Hallsville, and Chapel Hill battling for a spot, and Tyler Legacy Volleyball hits the postseason for the first time since 2021. We've got all this and more coming up in sports, so stay with us.
time for CBS 19 Sports.
Hello and welcome to Sports. I'm Jimmy Searfoss. We're glad you are with us because some teams right now are just staring their seasons right in the face. There's really not many shots left for them to make their way into the postseason. And for these three teams, that path is pretty narrow, but not impossible. So let's start up the road here and take a look at those Tyler High Lions. They ain't really done a lot to help their playoff chances right now, but they're not quite out just yet, but they'll need some help. So step one, they gotta beat Red Oak this week. It's a tough game on the road, but we've seen the Lions hang with tougher teams than these guys, but this is now the most important game that they played all year. Step two, the Centennial has to lose to Joshua next week in their final game. That one's tough too, but not unheard of, but then again, doesn't matter if Tyler High doesn't beat Red Oak. Now stay with me on this one. Hallsville just might have a spot after week 11. They're currently tied with Mount Pleasant in those standings. Both teams have 2 games left in the season. Hallsville is going to play Marshall, and Mount Pleasant is going to play Nacogdoches. Tough games for both teams right here. And then if they lose their matchup against each other in the last game of the season, would decide who gets that final playoff spot in their district. So not crazy. The Chapel Hill Bulldogs, though, got a way easier path in the playoffs. They just got to beat Henderson this week. It's a lot easier said than done for sure. And if they don't, they'll be watching the playoffs this year from the stands.
Yeah, if we look what's in front of us, you know, we got a really good chance. It's really important, so because we have a chance to do what we wanted to, we had at the beginning of the season. Even though we lost some, we still have the chance to do it. Our goal and get there.
Chapel Hill has made the playoffs every single year dating back to 2019. You know who had no problem making the playoffs this year? Tyler Legacy in volleyball, because today they'll be serving it up in their first postseason volleyball game since 2021. The Lady Raiders finished up their season 21-9 and grabbed that 4th spot over Longview to make the playoffs. They're getting ready to head down to Terrell High School to take on Garland Naaman Forest at 7 p.m. today. If they win, it would be their first playoff victory since 2007. Well, if you ever needed an example of how football in the SEC just means more, the governor of Louisiana weighed in on the head coaching search for the LSU Tigers, and it went like this.
We are not going down a failed path. I can tell you right now, Scott Woodward is not selecting the next coach. Hell, I'll let Donald Trump select it before I let him do it. I don't know, but the Board of Supervisors is going to come up with a committee, and they're going to go find us a coach.
This comes off the heels of LSU's firing of Brian Kelly. The terms of that buyout still getting negotiated, but it's estimated he'll be owed roughly $53 million. You know, pocket change. Now, a private donor reportedly is set to fund nearly all of that. Currently, Frank Wilson is the interim head coach leading the team, but if they're looking for someone, former Tigers head coach Ed Orgeron has said he would love to come back and coach his Tigers again. A lot of criticism that came out of the firing of Kelly is that Kelly just didn't embody the culture enough. Well, if that's what you're looking for, here's your sign. Orgeron told ESPN that he'd hop in his truck and be there by the end of the day if he could. Hey, those Houston Rockets really living up to their name yesterday, specifically Tari Eason. Prepare for liftoff. He's launching this one from half court to beat the buzzer and then did it again at the end of the third. Rockets shot away from this one. They took it 139-121 over Toronto. Game 5. Blake Snell on the mound for the Dodgers. Been so good in the post. That one was absolutely launched over the wall in L.A. Off to a hot start. Schneider gives the Blue Jays an early lead. All right, they may be back-to-back.
All right, I'm Dana Dixon. Thanks for being with us for this news update. Survey crews in Kilgore have determined the tornado's intensity from Tuesday's storm as an EF1 with peak winds reaching 94 miles per hour. Now neighbors are picking up the pieces. Strong winds uprooted trees, damaged homes and yards, and sent Halloween decorations flying. City crews and homeowners spent the day clearing debris, while some, like the Staggs family, dealt with a flood of contractors offering help.
We've been bombarded with roofing companies, tree companies, and all that stuff.
I mean, taking advantage of, because right now we're in a tight budget and we got to take whatever we can to get help, because it's going to take a lot to get those trees cut.
Officials are urging residents to verify contractors before they get that work done. And a fast-moving tornado struck near Lindale on Tuesday as well, twisting trees and sending all that debris flying. You can see in this video, a Lindale resident says she and a co-worker took cover as barns and trailers were damaged. The storm lasted less than a minute, but cleanup will take much longer. Neighbors say they're thankful everyone made it through safely. An Anderson County Sheriff's deputy has been indicted in connection with an on-duty incident that happened back in 2021. Officials say Brett Witten is now suspended without pay as the case moves forward in court. Witten is charged with aggravated assault by a public servant. The Texas Rangers opened the investigation earlier this year after the district attorney's office received new information about the case. He turned himself in this week, was booked into the Henderson County Jail, and later released on a $20,000 bond. For most teens, getting a driver's license marks the start of freedom, but for Lindale's Hannah Evans, that freedom takes a little extra help. Nearly 3 years ago, a skiing accident left her paralyzed at just 18. Since then, she's relied on others to get in and out of her car, and now she's hoping to get a handicap-accessible van that would help her drive. Now, friends have launched a fundraiser to help Hannah reach her goal. For more info, go to CBS19.tv. Now let's get a check of your weather.
And we got temperatures in the 50s and 60s. We got middle 60s in store for us as we head into this afternoon. Light winds, that's going to be the key right there. And of course, we got lots of sunshine here to go around across the area. We'll see middle 60s across our central parts of the area, potentially some upper 60s in some of our southwestern or southern parts of the area. Low to moderate fire danger risk thanks to those lower wind speeds. Still got some drier air out there. That's why we still have that moderate risk, but it's much, much better than from what we saw yesterday with those heavier winds. Now, we are going to be very light when it comes to the winds, and temperatures will be in the 60s and 70s. A slight chance of showers on Saturday. We'll keep an eye on that. But after that, we got a ridge of high pressure building our temperatures back into the middle to upper 70s.
Together, we're putting East Texas first. You're watching Morning Yo on CBS 19+.
Good morning, y'all. I'm Dana Dixon. Thanks for joining us here on CBS 19+. We are continuing our deep dive into the 17 proposed amendments to the Texas Constitution, measures all voters will see on the ballot. This morning, we're looking at two propositions, 11 and 17, which would increase homestead exemptions, providing potential property tax relief for Texans, especially seniors and those with disabilities. Ashley Godot has more.
I'm KVUE Political Director Ashley Godot here to continue our deep dive looking at the 17 proposed amendments to the state constitution that all Texas voters are weighing in on. Today, let's talk about two props that have a widespread support because they would increase homestead exemptions. We'll start with Prop 11. Here's what you'll see on the ballot. The constitutional amendment authorizing the legislature to increase the amount of the exemption from ad valorem taxation by a school district of the market value of the residence homestead of a person who is elderly or disabled. During the 2023 legislative session, lawmakers voted to increase the property tax exemption to $100,000. But the additional exemption given to Texans ages 65 and older and those who are disabled didn't change. It stayed at $10,000. If this prop passes, the additional savings given to seniors and the disabled would increase to $60,000, saving the average older Texan about $450 on their school tax bill every year. A lot of older and disabled Texans are on fixed income, so as property values across the state increase, it can be harder for seniors to stay in their homes. Supporters say this would help, and school districts wouldn't lose any money because the state will put more money in to make up the difference. That's also the case if Prop 13 passes. Here's that prop. The constitutional amendment to increase the amount of the exemption of residence homesteads from ad valorem taxation by a school district from $100,000 to $140,000. This one, pretty easy to understand, and earlier this year I talked with the author of the bill, State Senator Paul Betancourt, about the impact it would have for Texas homeowners.
Well, the key component of SB 4 is that it raises the homestead exemption. When a homeowner gets a higher homestead exemption, it means they pay less. And on school taxes, it's really important. We've had a great run at raising the homestead exemption up to $100,000, but now we're going to go another 40%, raise it up to $140,000, and that saves the average home $363 a year, every year, for the rest of their lives.
If both of these propositions pass, Texas seniors and the disabled would get a property tax exemption of $200,000, which means a supermajority of seniors across the state won't have to pay any school taxes. Again, supporters say this provides real tax relief to Texans, but opponents warn if there's an economic downturn and Texas is faced with a budget deficit instead of a surplus, lawmakers could cut funding to public schools. After all, that's what happened in 2011. The choice, though, is up to you to vote, Texas.
For any information you might need for this year's election, get the CBS 19 voter guide. We can send that straight to your phone. Just text the word vote to 903-600-2600. We're into day 30 of the government shutdown now, and still no signs that Democrats or Republicans are willing to budge. The ongoing stalemate continues over whether to extend health care subsidies or simply open the government first. This comes as millions of American workers continue to go without pay, while a major deadline approaches for food assistance at the end of the week. The Department of Agriculture said it would not reach into a contingency fund to extend benefits.
We are preparing for November to be our busiest month ever.
And for the first time in weeks, senators are expressing some optimism about bipartisan talks aimed at ending the impasse. Still, lawmakers are playing the blame game as SNAP food assistance benefits are set to expire.
Donald Trump has made the decision to let people across this country go hungry. Trump is telling 15 million hungry children, eat dirt.
It's day 29 of the Democrat shutdown, and things are getting really tough for the American people. The Democrats are coming near now to a cliff that they will not be able to turn back from.
And this comes as President Trump has announced that his administration is working to find a solution to help fund SNAP. We spoke to Congressman Nathaniel Moran, and he says he is deeply concerned, but insists the focus has to stay on reopening the government the right way.
So the shutdown is not good for East Texans, it's not good for the nation, but we cannot give in to the unreasonable policy demands of the Democrats just to get back online. Don't fear, we're going to get through this. I predict we're going to get through this in the next couple of weeks. I think we're going to be back open before the middle of November. I could be wrong, but that's my belief. Just looking at and reading the political tea leaves, just hold steady, hold fast.
Democrats are still demanding Republicans join them to extend Obamacare subsidies to keep health insurance premiums from skyrocketing for millions. House Speaker Mike Johnson says Republicans are willing to negotiate, but only after Democrats agree to reopen the government. Several retailers and companies are ramping up seasonal hiring. Right now, it's hard to gauge how the labor market is doing because unemployment numbers are not being released during the government shutdown. But many companies have already announced that they're adding thousands of temporary jobs, while others have said they're scaling back. Jen Sullivan looks at who's hiring and how to land a job.
Holiday hiring is ramping up. Many companies have added thousands of seasonal jobs, but it also comes at a time when many of the same companies are also announcing steep layoffs.
We've certainly seen organizations taking a little bit more of a measured approach as to hiring right now.
Dawn Fay with recruiting firm Robert Half says the good news is seasonal jobs can provide some benefits and may turn into full-time jobs after the holidays.
You're earning compensation, you're building your resume, you're learning skills, you're getting professional individuals, you're adding to your network and getting references as well, too.
Target says last year, more than half of their seasonal hires were offered the chance to stay on after the holidays. The retail giant recently announced they're adding seasonal jobs, but didn't specify how many. The news, though, comes as the company announced it's cutting 1,800 corporate jobs. Amazon also announced mass corporate layoffs this week, but the company says they're still hiring 250,000 people for the busy shopping season. The U.S. Postal Service is adding 14,000 seasonal jobs, which sounds like a lot, but it's far less than the 40,000 just a few years ago. Fay says these seasonal jobs aren't just in the retail space.
There's a lot of customer service opportunities. There's a lot of IT opportunities. We see across companies and industries a lot of opportunities in the accounting and finance space.
So how do you find these jobs?
When you're looking for these opportunities, to do job searches on words such as seasonality, temporary.
Fay also recommends job seekers consider contract work. Many companies hire temporary workers for projects this time of year. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Well, for most teens, getting a driver's license marks the start of freedom. But for Hannah Evans here in East Texas, that freedom takes a little extra help. Nearly 3 years ago, a skiing accident left Hannah paralyzed at just 18. Since then, she's relied on others to get in and out of her car, something many of us take for granted. And now she's hoping to get a handicap-accessible van that would let her drive without leaving her wheelchair.
It felt like my independence was stolen from me, not even being able to leave my home without being dependent on a whole mess of people. In my mind, I think, getting this car is one less thing I have to ask for help for. And like internally, the load that lightens thinking of that, is enough.
Friends have launched a fundraiser to help Hannah reach her goal, a step toward more independence and a little more freedom on the road. For more information on the fundraiser for Hannah Evans, go to our website, CBS19.tv. Students at Regay Elementary in Nacogdoches are celebrating a brand new playground. Take a look. The district held that ribbon cutting to celebrate the new equipment, all part of a project worth more than $400,000. That was approved earlier this year. Students with near perfect attendance got the first chance to test it out. And safe to say, with those smiles, I think they liked it. Yeah, the new playground replaces equipment that was about 20 years old. A big congratulations this morning. Several East Texas school bands showed out loud and proud in Waco this week, taking home top place awards for their schools. Now, these teams competing in the UIL state contest yesterday in McLean Stadium at Baylor University. Here a look at some of the winners. Longview's band won second place in the 5A 6A competition. In the 4A division, Gilmer placed first. In 3A, West Rusk High School won first place, and Beckville won first place in the 1A 2A competition. just want to say we're really proud of all of you. These are just a few of the winners. If you want to see that full list, go over to our website, CBS19.tv. It's a slang phrase that's widely used by Gen Alpha, that age group. Parents, have you heard it? 6'7", not 67, because that would be wrong.
I guess so.
It is 6'7". Has ties, they say, to rapper Skrilla's song Doot Doot. Some say it means so-so, or maybe this, maybe that. Dictionary.com's word of the year is meant to put a spotlight on social trends and global events that define the year. The online dictionary says it analyzes new headlines, social media, and more to find what makes the biggest impact on conversations. Searches for 6'7" have dramatically risen since the summer.
All right, Gen Alpha. Last time I checked, 6'7" was a height. All right.
6'7" is a height. It's a temperature.
Yeah.
I don't know.
6'7".
I'm not feeling 6'7". I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm feeling 22 like Taylor
Like
Swift.
I'd like to feel
That's
22.
an actual number. You know,
That'd be
these
nice.
are.
All right,
Yeah.
a giant pigeon has landed in Manhattan's West Village, and it's turning heads this Halloween. And the oversized bird stretches across several windows of a townhouse, complete with a detailed head, and that is stopping passersby in their tracks. Look at that. Smaller pigeons with glowing red eyes perch on nearby fences, adding a spooky city twist to all that holiday fun. I would agree that New York pigeons are a little spooky to me.
A little bit. And look at it. It's got little wings, too.
It's kind of cute.
It is kind of cute. But
Pigeons
yeah.
are everywhere in New York.
You know what? I have never been in New York,
you
but
haven't?
I've heard there's a lot of pigeons.
There are. All right, Dunkin' has unveiled its 2025 holiday menu. I think you might like it. It includes some new treats like the cookie butter cloud latte, the ultimate bacon jam breakfast sandwich, and the raspberry striped croissant.
Oh, man.
The chain is also bringing back some favorites, the peppermint mocha and toasted white chocolate signature lattes. Starting November 1st, which is very, very soon now, Dunkin' is offering rewards members seasonal savings on menu items every day through the end of December.
Oh, my goodness.
Sounds very decadent, all those drinks and treats.
Yeah, sounds really good. You had me at cloud. The weatherman hears cloud and he's like,
I'm gonna
yes.
have that.
Right.
I want you to try that, and then you tell us if it was sunny or had a sunny disposition or a rainy disposition.
Will it put me on cloud 9?
That is what we all need to know.
That's right.
Kind of cloud 9 today, looking at these sunrises behind us.
Right, it's a gorgeous, gorgeous start today. A little bit chilly, but nonetheless, we got some gorgeous skies out there. Hey, before we get into our forecast, I want to show you the tracks of the Lindale and Kilgore tornadoes that were just mapped out by the National Weather Service yesterday. They were both ranked at an EF1. The Lindale tornado here had 100-mile-per-hour winds with a path length of around 4.5 miles. So let's track it out here. So there's US 69 right there. Just happened, just touched down east of there and crossed over Horde Road, then made its way across Mill Creek and basically ran parallel to FM 2710 and then lifted 4.5 miles later. Again, that's 100-mile-an-hour winds, which is equivalent to an EF1 tornado. Same goes for the Kilgore tornado, also an EF1 tornado with 94-mile-an-hour winds. A little bit shorter of a track here. Only about 2.5 miles in length there. Started on the north or the southwestern parts of town and made its way here across Industrial Boulevard, ran right parallel to Woodlawn Street all the way up just south of Kilgore College. You can see right there. There's the middle of town. There's Houston Street there, and again, only about 94-mile-an-hour winds as compared to the 100-mile-per-hour tornado. As we took a look at the Lindale tornado, both again. Were in fact EF1 tornadoes that caused some damage there, but that is a look at those tornadoes. And coming up in your full forecast, we're going to break down the sunshine, the cooler temperatures, and some possible rain chances going into this weekend. So we'll be right back.
A health alert: the risk of heart attacks and stroke rises significantly in the weeks after catching the flu or COVID. A UCLA study found both the flu and COVID, as well as chronic infections like HIV, raise the risk for serious cardiovascular events. Researchers say the study highlights how critical it is to get vaccinated for flu and COVID. Well, we know that sitting too long isn't good for your health, but what may help out is a cup of hot chocolate. Not too bad. A University of Birmingham study found that flavanol-rich foods like cocoa, tea, berries, and apples can help improve vascular function in men who are spending long periods sitting during the day. Sedentary behaviors can lead to a higher risk of heart disease and strokes. Halloween is almost here, and veterinarians are warning the spooky season can be a scary time for pets, triggering a spike in emergency visits. Bradley Blackburn has more on how to protect your furry friends.
Pet owners love to include their animals in the Halloween fun, but the American Veterinary Medical Association warns the festivities also land more pets in the emergency clinic this time of year.
A lot of pets are very susceptible to noise, and this can be a noisy time of year.
AVMA President Dr. Michael Q. Bailey says when trick-or-treaters arrive, pets may try to run out of the house. So you might want to keep them on a leash or distract them with a new toy in a quiet space.
You have new people coming to your door, and the pets may not be familiar and they may get stressed by it.
If your pet is dressing up, their costume should fit well so it doesn't cause them to choke or trip. Make sure they don't get into the treats, which can lead to toxic ingestions, intestinal blockages, and burns. Take glow sticks. While the material inside is not toxic, it is an irritant.
Just by biting into it, it's going to cause irritation to the gums. If they swallow it, then it's going to cause irritation to the GI system.
Keep the sweets, like gum and chocolate, far from your pet's reach.
Artificial sweetener, such as with xylitol, that in itself can cause a significant amount of distress and can be deadly. Chocolates can cause a significant amount of damage to the liver.
Laura Bierenbaum just adopted her pup Pigeon a couple weeks ago. She's celebrating her first Halloween with her new brother, Frank.
Sometimes loud noises make her scared, so I think we're going to be keeping her inside and calm, and if she wants to come out, great, but we'll have her unleashed.
To ensure she's safe and happy on the scariest day of the year. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Veterinarians also recommend having pets microchipped just in case they run out of the house or they get lost any time of the year. Well, speaking of Halloween, we now want to know how that's going to look in the coming days. It's tomorrow.
I can't believe that. And you know what? It's a great forecast. I can't wait to tell it to you. We're going to tell it to you right now, right? You're going to have beautiful skies and temperatures today, and just lots of sunshine, and all in all, just light winds too. That's definitely a big improvement from yesterday. We got middle 60s for this afternoon, and potentially some upper 60s off into our southernmost counties. They'll have a chance to maybe reach the 70-degree mark, but I think more of us will have that chance to reach the 70-degree mark into tomorrow with lots of sunshine. Light winds continuing to hold on here. Here's the highest gusts within the past 24 hours. Now, we had some higher gusts as recorded a little bit earlier because of how basically the relative time here, but we had some 40 to 45 mile per hour wind gusts here. But 24 hours ago right now, the highest gust was 22 miles an hour in Tyler, 33 miles per hour in Athens, and we had a 14 mile per hour gusts in Nacogdoches. You can see off to the west, Dallas and Terrell at 40 to 43 miles per hour. Those are the highest gusts as of 24 hours right now. As of 24 hours a few hours ago, again, we had 40 to 45 mile an hour wind gusts, even close to 50 in some locations. That is definitely not the case anymore. Winds still holding on from the northwest at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Even for some very calm winds here across some parts of the area. That really, really helps us out when it comes to fire danger. We're at low to moderate at this point, thanks to those lower wind speeds. So that's some good news there. Now, the next week, we are watching for an area of high pressure to move in. That's going to be in our upper levels. We'll see temperatures in the low to mid 70s, potentially the upper 70s by the middle of the week. But not looking at any rain chances here, except for Saturday. There is another cold front on the way for Saturday afternoon. That'll trigger a couple showers there. But after that comes through, we'll see some cooler temperatures for Sunday. And then that ridge finally makes its way in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You see those temperatures in the low to mid 70s, potentially near 77 by Wednesday.
Halloween is is just a day away and we're getting into the spirit, whether you want to be spooky, maybe just a little silly. I feel like that's the way you'd go most days.
I go, yeah, all the time. I go a little silly all the time.
Everyone's got that costume that they'll never forget. Maybe it was a classic ghost. I love clever themes, although I never came up with any, but I'm glad that some of you do. So we want to know, what's your all-time favorite Halloween costume? I do remember liking being like a 50s girl with my poodle skirt and whatnot one year. That was fun.
Nice. Yeah, no, we were talking earlier. You reminded me of the time that me and my sister dressed up as Doc and Marty. I was Doc, she was Marty. It was awesome.
We didn't have like Halloween stores when I was little, you know.
Oh, okay.
Now you just go to the Halloween store, you have whatever you want, really, to pick out from. We had to get real creative and make our costumes from like, I don't know, what are those things? I don't sew. Anyways,
sewing
those things.
Machines. The sewing machines.
The form that you've, I don't know. Anyways, those
something
things.
like that. But yeah, you had to be creative back in the day, I'm sure. Absolutely.
Some people were talking over on Facebook about their favorite costumes.
Let's hear it.
Tori said it has to be inflatables for me.
Yes.
Those are fun.
Yes, the big old sumo
One of
suits.
my kids was one of the ones that goes like this, you know?
Oh, the in front of the car dealerships and stuff. The guy.
One year. I don't think he was that thrilled about it, but he needed a costume.
There you go.
Let's see. Sissy's going with a witch. Someone said Mike Myers. Yeah, those are the ones that scared me. I always hated being trick-or-treating and the scary people, like,
the Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, even Ghostface from Scream.
Yeah. All right, do you want to win tickets to Wonder Screams in Shreveport? You have a chance by answering our question of the day. You can win that family 4-pack of tickets to this haunted attraction. We're taking your answers on Facebook, and we've been telling you about it all morning. So today's winner of a family 4-pack of tickets to Wonder Screams is Brianna Bergamy.
Yay!
Yay! Congrats to you. Stop by our station located in Tyler to pick up those scary tickets. We're about to step away for a moment. We'll be right back with our over-the-air broadcast with a news update and more here on CBS 19 Plus. Good morning, y'all. I'm Dana Dixon with your news update. In Lindale, cleanup crews are working after an EF1 tornado tore through part of Smith County, damaging homes, barns, and trees. A home security video footage right here showing the moments those winds picked up and whipped through Ashley Turner's backyard. You can see trees twisting and that debris just swirling before a tree finally topples.
A little bit of wind quickly picked up, and we could definitely tell it wasn't just straight line winds or anything like that coming. We quickly figured out it was definitely a tornado that was coming through the backyard.
Ashley Turner says the tornado was gone in under a minute, but cleanup could take days. Neighbors also saw barns mangled, trailers flipped, and trees splintered. Now to Kilgore, where survey crews have determined that their tornado's intensity also an EF1. Strong winds uprooting trees, damaging homes, and sending Halloween decorations flying. The Kilgore fire chief says no injuries have been reported and cleanup could take a week or more. Spring Hill ISD voters will decide whether to approve a new $20 million bond package and a property tax increase. Proposition A is the voter approval tax rate election, which means 3.2 cents tax increase per $100 of taxable property value. This would provide additional funding for academic programs, extracurriculars, and student support services. Prop B is a general maintenance bond funding the replacement of heating and air conditioning units, interior upgrades at the junior high, and other district maintenance. Proposition C and D focuses on upgrades and maintenance at Panther Stadium, also improvement of tennis courts and restrooms. The district's current 50-cent I&S tax rate will support Props B, C, and D without any additional tax rate increase.
With these 4 propositions is because we feel like it's critical to the experience of our students, and we feel like that our students, our staff, and our community deserve well-kept facilities that are heated and cooled well, and that are remodeled when needed, and that transportation is reliable and safe.
Early voting ends tomorrow. Election Day is November 4th. Let's get a check of your weather now.
We got middle 60s in store for today, so a lot more like fall than the past few days. Definitely a lot less windy than the past few days, especially yesterday as well. We're looking at a pretty pleasant forecast into today. Lots of sunshine, light winds, still out of the northwest, about 5 to 10 miles per hour. That's basically going to be the max wind speed going into this afternoon. That really helps us out when it comes to fire danger here. We're still at low, even moderate across the area, so a lot of us still have to be a little bit careful, especially with the dry air in place, but certainly an improvement from yesterday given those high wind speeds. Now we are watching another cold front to move through. We got a couple showers possible into your Saturday afternoon, and then we fall back Saturday night, and then another ridge of high pressure moves into the area. We'll see temperatures inch their way back into the middle to upper 70s next week.
News before you head out this morning. For the first time in weeks, senators are cautiously optimistic about bipartisan talks to end the government shutdown, but tensions are still high. Millions of American workers are still going without pay as that major deadline for SNAP food assistance is approaching at the end of this week. The Department of Agriculture says that it will not tap into a contingency fund to extend benefits. Lawmakers continue to trade blame, with Democrats accusing President Trump of letting hungry Americans go without help, while Republicans point to the ongoing Democratic-led shutdown. Spring Hill ISD voters will decide on a $20 million bond package and a possible tax increase. Prop A asks for a 3.2 cent hike per $100 of property value to fund academics, activities, and student services. Props B, C, and D would pay for campus maintenance, HVAC upgrades, and stadium improvements, all covered under the current tax rate with no extra increase. And the National Weather Service out in East Texas confirming 2 EF1 tornadoes touching down on Tuesday, one near Lindale, the other in Kilgore. Winds up to 100 miles an hour, damaged homes, trees, and power lines. Crews are working to clear all of that debris still this morning, but first responders say that could take more than a week. All right, it's time to get one last check of your weather on this Thursday.
Yeah, let's take one more look at your 7-day forecast, shall we? Definitely matching my tie, that's for sure. We got lots of sunshine here for today and for tomorrow. Halloween looks absolutely fantastic, by the way. You can see 70 degrees as the high. By around trick-or-treating time and high school football, it's going to be a little bit cooler. I'm expecting temperatures in the low to mid 60s by then, so you'll definitely want a little bit of a light jacket there. But lots of sunshine here. Another cold front arrives on Saturday. That'll trigger a couple of showers through the area by your Saturday afternoon, but nothing too impactful there. Once that cold front passes, we got the fallback happening on Saturday night. We'll have 2 a.m. twice on Sunday morning. So we'll see that, and of course sunshine. Temperatures a little bit cooler in the middle 60s, and then we got a ridge of high pressure moving in next week. That'll put our temperatures back into the low to mid 70s, potentially up to 77 by Wednesday.
Alrighty, well, classic TV show costumes recently fetched top dollar at Heritage Auctions. The Batman and Robin outfits worn by Adam West and Burt Ward on the 1960s ABC series sold together for nearly $600,000. Other items from the show, including the original Joker and Catwoman costumes, resulted in nearly $1 million in total sales. But the Caped Crusader and company weren't the only TV characters making money. Linda Carter's Wonder Woman outfit and 2 of Henry Winkler's Fonzie leather jackets were also sold to the highest bidders. The entire auction of that legendary TV regalia brought in more than $3 million. My goodness.
I mean,
it's amazing that they're still intact after all those years, right?
They've really preserved them pretty well. That's impressive. Yeah, no, what a cool thing to have something like that, you know?
I always wanted to be Wonder Woman, but I never was for Halloween.
Never was, huh?
And I'm probably never going to be. Do you even know what Wonder Woman is?
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay,
oh, yeah,
good.
I know what Wonder Woman is.
It was a whole show. It was so fun.
There you go. Absolutely.
Right. We're so glad you're with us this morning. Thank you so much for continuing your day with us here on Morning Y'all. You can catch the noon show coming up on CBS19 and CBS19 Plus, as well as the latest news and weather throughout the day. Hope you have a great rest of your morning, and we'll see you dark and early on Friday.